Hello, everyone, and welcome to our lecture on TOEFL summary question strategies. Let's dive into effective techniques for tackling these questions. Strategies for identifying wrong options. The primary approach is to first eliminate definitely incorrect options, then choose the remaining ones that represent topic sentences of the passage. Our goal is to identify as many wrong options as possible without reading the passage. In the previous several lecture videos, Dr. Byrnes has explained 6 strategies to identify incorrect options. Let's recap them. 1. Unrelated to introductory sentence, options must support the introductory sentence provided in the question. Some students are even oblivious that there is a clue sentence already in the question. So let's first look at how the question is phrased. An introductory sentence for a brief summary of the passage is provided below. Complete the summary by selecting 3 answer choices that express the most important ideas in the passage. Some sentences do not belong in the summary because they express ideas that are not presented in the passage or are minor ideas in the passage. Often, the introductory sentence serves as the summary of summaries. So read the introductory sentence in the question carefully and eliminate options that are not related or do not support the introductory sentence. For example, this is the introductory sentence given in the question. In moving from water to land, ancestral plants overcame many obstacles in order to survive. So the correct choices must support the sentence, like what were the obstacles and how the obstacles were overcome. Now compare these 2 answer choices. A. The instability of freshwater habitats caused marine algae to develop adaptations to their harsh environment. B. Neither brown nor red algae are likely to be ancestors of plants because of their difference in pigmentation. A clearly supports the introductory sentence with an example of an obstacle, which is the instability of the freshwater and how plants overcame it, which is developing adaptations. B, on the other hand, talks about the ancestors of plants based on pigmentation, which is unrelated to the introductory sentence. So B can be eliminated for its irrelevance to the introductory sentence. 2. Minor details. Eliminate strategy number 2, minor details. There are 2 types of details, minor and essential. Essential details are crucial to understanding the main points of the passage and often have a paragraph or significant space devoted to explaining them. They are typically topic sentences and are suitable for summaries. By contrast, minor details are those that the author mentions briefly or in passing. They are not necessary to understand the main gist of the passage and are often details you skim when reading. Minor details are usually specific facts not suitable for summaries. A summary typically consists of general claims or ideas, not specific details. Often, it's not clear whether some details are essential just by reading the options. The way to determine this is to look at the passage. When the passage spends a paragraph explaining something, it's likely an essential detail. So if you see some detail that contains key words in the summary, then keep it and check whether they are essential or minor against the passage. This approach helps you distinguish between important concepts that form the core of the passage's argument and less significant details that may not be crucial for the summary. 3. Incorrect qualifying words. This strategy uses the fact that academic passages are written very carefully to avoid making unqualified claims. TOEFL passages are from the academic world, and these works are based on experiences and empirical evidence, so they use qualifiers to avoid making unnecessarily absolute claims. So if an option makes absolute claims using unqualified words like all, never, no, every, or superlative comparisons, one counterexample makes it false. A summary sentence must be true, so eliminate such sentences. On the other hand, sentences that use qualifiers like almost, usually, most, tend to, are more likely to be true, so keep them. When using absolute indicating words as clues, don't just rely on these words for elimination. You need to make sure that the whole meaning of the sentence is absolute, not just the words. For example, every indicates absoluteness, but not every does not. For example, every ecosystem contains a diverse range of species. This sentence is absolute because every suggests no exceptions. If there's even one ecosystem that does not contain a diverse range of species, the statement is false. Not every ecosystem contains a diverse range of species. This sentence is not absolute. It acknowledges that while some ecosystems may have a diverse range of species, others may not. It suggests variability and exceptions. So this statement is true even if there are counterexamples. Consider these option choices. A high degree of species diversity does not always result in a stable ecosystem. B, disagreements over the meaning of the term stability make it difficult to identify the most stable ecosystems. C, ecologists agree that climax communities are the most stable types of ecosystems. D, no fossil evidence was provided by Darwinian gradualists. A is nicely qualified with not always, so keep the option. B has an absolute sounding phrase, the most stable, but the idea in B is that it's difficult to identify the most stable ecosystems. So B is not making any absolute claim, so keep B. By contrast, C makes an absolute claim that climax communities are the most stable, so we can eliminate it for being absolute. D also makes an absolute claim with no evidence, so you should eliminate D. 4. Incorrect use of general academic terms. This strategy offers a helpful way to eliminate options by identifying certain key words. Words like demonstrate, prove, and disprove are typically associated with logic and mathematics, indicating absolute truth. In scientific contexts, truth is often established with high probability, so words like support, confirm, validate are appropriate as these terms suggest a likelihood of truth rather than absolute certainty. Therefore, when you encounter these words, in addition to absolute quantifiers, e.g. all, never, no, every, and superlative comparisons, e.g. the most, best, worst, these can serve as red flags that the statement may be making an overly absolute claim and can often be eliminated unless the context genuinely warrants them. By focusing on these indicators, you can effectively narrow down your answer choices. These are examples. Various types of images have been used to demonstrate that most of the Martian surface contains evidence of flowing water. An examination of fossils of horses disproves the punctuated equilibrium hypothesis. The discovery that grasses, sedges, and mosses survived under the thick ash from a large volcanic eruption proved that the Ice Age Beringian plant cover was extremely resistant to climatic extremes. All these choices must be eliminated due to the absoluteness, indicating terms like demonstrate, disprove, and prove. 5. Facts that critical thinking can show to be false. Sometimes, by just thinking about the options carefully, you can determine that an option must be false based on how it is phrased. Consider these choices. The absence of sea otter predation in a Pacific kelp bed ecosystem dramatically changed the entire ecosystem by stabilizing the total kelp population. Darwin was the first person interested in speciation, but he was unaware of the punctuated equilibrium hypothesis. Regarding option A, the sentence does not make sense because dramatically changing and stabilizing usually do not go together. Instead, dramatically changing is often associated with destabilized ideas. For option B, the phrase the first person raises questions. Consider that many scientists and thinkers were interested in the concept of speciation long before Darwin, as evidenced by the study of animal breeding, e.g., why dogs always produce dogs and not cats. Therefore, option B cannot be true either. 6. Two inconsistent options. If two options contradict each other and you know one is true, you can automatically eliminate the other. For example, Romans valued sea power as did the Latins, the original inhabitants of Rome. Roman values were rooted in a strong attachment to the land and the stability of rural life. These statements contradict each other. Historically, Romans valued land, while Greeks valued sea power, so we can eliminate the first option. 7. Select based on topic sentences. When you use the strategies, you should be able to eliminate a few options and sometimes all three incorrect options. If you can eliminate only one or two, now you need to use this strategy. Choose the ones that are the topic sentences of the passage. Topic sentences are the summary sentences of paragraphs. Since TOEFL passages often have 5 to 6 paragraphs, summaries typically cover a few paragraphs. How do we know whether an option is a topic sentence? Check how much space is devoted to the idea. If a paragraph spends significant space on it, it's likely a topic sentence. In fact, this how much space is spent approach is the easiest way to determine whether an option is a topic sentence. Consider this option. The artist David Hockney has speculated that artists probably combined the use of the camera obscura with their own original observations from life. The idea that artists probably combined the use of the camera obscura with their own original observations from life seems general and a good idea to be a summary. But David Hockney is a specific detail. And so we need to check the passage to see whether at least a paragraph is spent on David Hockney. This is the passage. In paragraphs 3 and 4, we can see that David Hockney's view is extensively explained. So David Hockney is not a minor detail, but an essential detail. So we know that the option is the correct one to choose. By applying these strategies, you can effectively approach TOEFL summary questions. Remember to eliminate incorrect options first, then focus on identifying topic sentences from the remaining choices. Now let's try to apply these strategies to actual TOEFL questions. Exercise 1. Let's apply our strategies to evaluate these answer choices in relation to the introductory summary sentence. Much of the ground is actually saturated with water. Correct choices must support this idea that the ground is saturated with water. A. Sediments that hold water were spread by glaciers and are still spread by rivers and streams. This option explains how water-holding sediments are distributed across the ground, directly supporting the idea that much of the ground is saturated with water. It provides a mechanism for widespread water saturation, so A is a good choice. B. Water is stored underground in beds of loose sand and gravel or in cemented sediment. This option directly supports the summary sentence by describing specific locations where water is stored underground, reinforcing the concept of ground saturation. C. The size of a saturated rock's pores determines how much water it will retain when the rock is put in a dry place. This option is not directly related to the statement, ground is saturated with water. However, it does talk about rocks saturated with water and explains a mechanism for how rocks can retain water even in dry conditions, which supports the idea that much of the ground can be saturated with water in unexpected ways. This detail could be an essential part of understanding why the ground is more saturated than we might expect. After all, the ground is mostly made of rock. So let's keep it. D. Groundwater often remains underground for a long time before it emerges again. While this statement is related to groundwater, it doesn't directly support the surprising nature of ground saturation. It's more about the movement of water rather than explaining why the ground might be unexpectedly saturated. So we eliminate D. E. Like sandstone, basalt is a crystalline rock that is very porous. This is a specific comparison of rock types and doesn't directly support the main idea of ground saturation. It's too specific and doesn't address the widespread nature of ground saturation mentioned in the summary sentence. So we eliminate E. F. Beds of unconsolidated sediments are typically located at inland sites that were once underwater. While this relates to the potential for water retention, it doesn't directly support the idea of current ground saturation. It's more about the historical location of certain types of sediments rather than their current water content. So we eliminate F. So the remaining options are A, B, and C. Let's make sure that C is mentioned in the passage. These paragraphs are focused on explaining how rocks can be saturated with water. So C is indeed an essential detail. Therefore, the correct answers are A, B, and C. Exercise 2. This is the introductory sentence. Western Europe experienced a tremendous growth in population in the 19th century. So correct options must explain how tremendous population growth was possible in Europe. A. Agricultural failures became less damaging after 1850 because of advances in science and technology, as well as improvements in the transportation and preservation of foods. This supports population growth by indicating improved food security. Better food availability and preservation would lead to fewer deaths from famine and better overall nutrition, contributing to population growth. So we keep A. B. Although agricultural failures led to deaths and emigration, population levels were restored within a short time. B only talks about restoring the previous population size, not explaining the growth. So B is not a good choice. C. The development of better food processing technologies allowed many Western European countries to grow their own food without having to import it from other countries. C focuses on food self-sufficiency rather than population growth. So C does not support the introductory sentence. D. As the population in the countryside began increasing faster than the supply of food and living space, people began moving to the cities in search of jobs and other resources. D directly mentions population increase in rural areas and implies overall growth leading to urbanization. It shows a clear link to population growth. E. High death rates in the cities began to decline as food supplies became more reliable and as reformers prompted improvements in sanitation and housing. E strongly supports population growth by indicating reduced death rates in cities. Lower mortality rates directly contribute to population increase. F. The improvements in crop growing methods created new jobs on the farms, causing people from the overcrowded cities to move to the countryside to fill those jobs. F focuses on population movement rather than overall growth. It describes a shift in population distribution, but doesn't necessarily indicate an increase in total population. The best choices are A, D, and E. Exercise 3. Let's evaluate each answer choice in relation to the introductory sentence. Translocation is used for the reintroduction or reinforcement of species. So the good options should talk about the purpose or the outcome of translocation. A. Translocation is used in species conservation, but it can also bring about the spread of disease, introduction of maladaptive genes, and reduction of species diversity. This option acknowledges the use of translocation in conservation, but also highlights potential negative consequences. It adds depth to the understanding of translocation by discussing its risks, which are important considerations in any conservation effort. So A is a good choice. B. Until recently, most of the successful translocation efforts were carried out by well-intentioned animal lovers. It focuses on who performed the translocations rather than on the process or outcomes of these efforts, and it does not directly support the introductory sentence. Additionally, when we consider it critically, the statement seems misleading, as well-intentioned efforts often lead to unsuccessful rather than successful results. Even though there are accounts of successful translocation, there have been many that have failed. This option provides a balanced perspective by acknowledging both successes and failures in translocation efforts. It supports the introductory sentence by indicating that while translocation is used for reintroduction and reinforcement, it is not always successful. So C is a good choice. A fundamental problem in the evaluation of translocation is the lack of a framework that defines success and determines whether a translocation effort is justified. This statement addresses challenges in assessing translocation efforts, which is relevant to understanding its effectiveness in species conservation. It supports the idea that while translocation is used, there are complexities involved in evaluating its success. So D is a good choice. It is relatively easy to justify translocation efforts involving species that have been seriously affected by predators or strong competitors, but these efforts are the most difficult to monitor. The sentence doesn't sound right because it presents a logical inconsistency. It suggests that translocation efforts for species affected by predators are easy to justify, but difficult to monitor, which is contradictory. Typically, efforts that are easy to justify should also have clear metrics for monitoring success. Additionally, the statement lacks evidence and overgeneralizes the complexities of translocation, failing to account for the specific challenges and nuances involved in conservation efforts. F. Examples, like the translocation of the Seychelles warbler and the red howler monkeys in French Guiana, demonstrate that each species requires specific translocation approaches and techniques. F uses the inadequate word demonstrate, which is too strong. It should have used illustrate instead. So the correct answer is A, C, and D. That's all we have for today. If you have any questions about today's lecture, feel free to ask. If you have some extra time, I highly recommend watching Dr. Byrnes' History of Philosophy video. It covers fascinating topics like the hero's journey, the monomyth, typology and Bible study, and the Iliad and the Odyssey. These concepts are often taught in humanities courses at U.S. universities, especially in English literature classes. Gaining some background knowledge in these areas can be incredibly helpful for understanding TOEFL lectures across reading, listening, writing, and speaking sections. Let us know if you have any questions or need further assistance.